Paris 1943. A windowless room. Thick walls. One bare light bulb hanging from the ceiling. A British agent sits handcuffed to a chair. He has already been searched. Not once. Not twice. 3 times. His pockets are empty. His shoes removed. His belt confiscated. His watch taken. Every seam pressed. Every lining checked. The Germans are methodical. They always are. They have found everything. Everything, except the 2-inch blade sewn into the lining of his jacket lapel. A weapon so small it weighs less than 40 grams. So simple it looks almost useless. And so discreet it was designed to survive the most thorough security search in occupied Europe. This knife was never meant to win a fight. It was never meant to turn the tide of a battle. It was meant for one moment only. A moment when everything else had failed. This is the story of Britain's smallest weapon of the Second World War, and the terrifying situation it was designed for. By 1941, Britain was fighting a war unlike anything it had planned for. Across occupied Europe, conventional armies were gone. What remained was resistance, fragile, secret, and constantly hunted. To wage this invisible war, Britain created a new organization, the Special Operations Executive. Its mission was bluntly stated by Winston Churchill: set Europe ablaze. SOE agents were dropped behind enemy lines with radios, explosives, forged papers, and false identities. They sabotaged railways. Organized resistance cells. Sent intelligence back to London. But every SOE mission shared the same fatal weakness. Capture. Once an agent was captured, everything they carried disappeared. Pistols. Explosives. Radio crystals. Codes. German security services were exceptionally good at searching prisoners. The Gestapo, the SD, and regional security units treated interrogation as a science. Clothing was stripped. Seams examined. Shoes dissected. Belts unstitched. And then the questioning began. Not minutes. Not hours. Weeks. Sometimes months. Captured agents were not expected to escape. They were expected to break. The Germans did not just want information. They wanted networks. One compromised agent could expose dozens of resistance members. Safe houses. Weapons caches. Radio schedules. Entire SOE circuits collapsed this way. Some agents resisted until death. Some broke under pressure. Almost none escaped. From the German perspective, this made sense. An unarmed prisoner. Handcuffed. Inside a guarded building. Surrounded by enemies. There were no options. SOE leadership understood this reality, and it terrified them. Because no amount of training, courage, or loyalty could change one fact: once captured, an agent was helpless. Unless Britain could give them something no one thought to look for. To solve this problem, SOE turned to 2 men with a very specific skill set: William Ewart Fairbairn and Eric Anthony Sykes. Both men had spent decades working in one of the most violent cities on earth, Shanghai. Fairbairn had served over 20 years in the Shanghai Municipal Police. He survived riots, gang wars, and street assassinations. His body carried knife scars from real encounters, not training exercises. Together, Fairbairn and Sykes had already designed the famous Fairbairn-Sykes fighting knife, a 7-inch dagger issued to commandos. But this knife was useless for captured agents. 7 inches of steel cannot survive a search. So they went smaller. Much smaller. The weapon that emerged barely looked like a weapon at all. A blade between 1.5 and 2.5 inches long. A grip no wider than a thumb. No guard. No handle in the traditional sense. Its brilliance lay not in the blade, but in how it was hidden. The sheath was designed with tiny holes along its edge. These allowed it to be sewn directly into clothing. Inside a jacket lapel, a shirt collar, a trouser seam, even a coat lining. Once sewn in, the knife became part of the garment itself. It did not rattle, did not bulge, did not trigger suspicion. Some versions included a small lanyard loop to prevent the blade from being dropped in a struggle. All were finished in matte black. Invisible. SOE training facilities in Britain taught agents how to use this weapon, but not in the way most people imagine. The lapel knife was not a fighting knife. It was not meant for prolonged combat. It was not meant to overpower multiple opponents. It was designed for one purpose only, to create a moment of chaos. Fairbairn taught what he called the timetable of death, a psychological tool more than a medical one. It emphasized speed, surprise, and decisiveness. Modern medical analysis later showed these timings were optimistic. Fairbairn's American protege Rex Applegate admitted as much decades later. But accuracy was not the point. Confidence was. Agents needed to believe that even in the worst possible situation, restrained, isolated, and surrounded, they were not completely powerless. The intended use of the lapel knife was grimly specific. An interrogation room. An agent restrained but with minimal movement. A guard standing close. The agent reaches toward their collar, an innocent motion. For a split second, the balance shifts. Not a guaranteed escape. Not a heroic victory. Just seconds of disorder. Enough to grab a weapon. Break restraints. Reach a door. In a building full of enemies, that might be the only chance. Here history becomes frustratingly incomplete. Despite extensive research, no verified account exists of an SOE agent using a lapel knife against an interrogator. This does not mean it never happened. SOE operated under extreme secrecy. Many files were destroyed after the war. Some operations were never documented. What we do know is this: the knife existed. It was issued. It was trained with. And its very existence changed how agents viewed capture. It was insurance, not meant to be cashed. After the war, most lapel knives vanished. Unlike mass-produced weapons, records are scarce. Original examples are extremely rare today. Institutions like the Imperial War Museum hold a few verified specimens. Collectors warn that reproductions vastly outnumber genuine wartime pieces. Which is fitting. A weapon designed to be invisible has almost entirely disappeared. The lapel knife was never about killing. It was about dignity. It was about refusing to accept absolute helplessness. In the shadowed rooms of occupied Europe, in the hands of men and women who knew they might never return home, a 2-inch blade sewn into a jacket lapel represented something the enemy could not confiscate. One final option. One hidden chance. Not to win the war, but to refuse surrender. That was British engineering. That was SOE. If you value deep, serious history, not myths, not movies, consider subscribing. This channel explores the weapons and decisions made for situations no one wanted to face.